On this motor, I just put new oil pump, new tensioner, new pulley, new water pump, got cylinder head, new gaskets on there. And now I'm putting the camshafts on. I noticed the camshafts have quite a bit wear in them. This is a used engine that customer brought, so this is the timing setup already, and you can see zero slack here, and tensioner is fully engaged, and everything seemed to be working. Crankshaft sensor installed, new water pump, camshafts, both sides. What you could do is there are two marks on the gears. You have to line those up. And if you can mark before removing that helps. I also did both. I marked and I lined up the previous marked. Also replaced the seal here, which is right this, and that one. Replace the sensor. Put new gaskets here. Now I'm moving on to the phase 2. Which is assembling the top end and the front end completely and starting to get the engine ready to drop into the car. Next, we're going to connect the alternator. So the bracket right here goes with a straight bolt. The bracket goes down here with 14. This pipe that comes out of the water pump housing is plugged on this engine. I don't know where's yours. So let's just tighten these up. These are 14 millimeter. There you go, 14 tight, 14 tight. I'm going to loosen it up when I put my belt back on. Another thing is right here is your dipstick. It's connected by these to 10 millimeter, goes down in there. Spark plugs are in, valve cover gaskets are on. Now I had to replace this sensor and this temperature sensor new. Next, we're going to plug in the coils and ignition wires. After that is done, I'm going to connect the entire engine and their plugs in, all the plugins. And you might want to watch that because that is something a lot of us don't mark, and sometimes we forget which plugs go where. To do a firing order or ignition coils, you don't really need to worry about which coil goes where, but you need to pay attention to which plug from that coil goes to. So the first coil's wire is going to end up going to the second plug on this side. So I'm just going to replace them while we're at it. So take it out, measure the cable, get the correct cable after you measure it, and poof, there you go. The first plug on this side goes to the last coil. There you go. Let's measure that. So you're going to plug that in. Basically, I like to plug the wire in first, like that, and then push the knob on. Okay? Then you take the cable from there to the first plug here. What's left is the last plug, goes to the second coil. You can measure that. You don't need to because you only got one cable left at that point. And you're going to install this the same way. Take the pin, guide it onto the coil. Then you take that plug and send it all the way around to the last plug. There you go. You can secure these with all the holders you have. And next I'm going to start working on the wire. Next I'm going to connect all these wires to the engine. So with this wiring, we're going to just line stuff up right here. It goes inside of this hose, right next to this. And then connect our back sensor. Then right here, we're just gonna plug injectors. Injector 1, 2, and injector 3. Got it. Next, let's plug our coils. All right. Okay, now this right here is your throttle body, idle control valve. This is the solenoid. So this solenoid here, I just unbolted it. I did not disconnect it. So I'm just gonna connect it back in. Next we got here is the wire for the knock sensor. Right here is your knock sensor plug, which is gonna plug in right over here. There. This is your knock sensor plug. Got it? Now we have a plug here that's gonna go to your temperature sensor there. So what I do is I plug it there. I unplug the tail from here and then take it back to the harness and plug it into the harness like that. That's easier. Next, let's plug this injector. Now this car has two important grounds, and I'm going to show you. Make sure you don't forget to connect them. Right here is your old scanner plug and the ground plug that's going to go. Then this solenoid here is going to mount to the intake manifold. This wire harness is going to go forward. It's going to sit right here. And you have two plugs here. One is for the crank sensor. Perfect. One right here is for the oil pressure. So you just line up the pressure sensor and plug it in. This one has to be secured here. Hit the bracket, send over the thermostat housing, and secure it. Here you go. So camshaft sensor here, air conditioning sensor here. This right here is going to connect to this pod. The coils, I already showed you how to connect those. And right here we got the idle air control. Then right here we got the TPMS, thermal position sensor. And there's supposed to be a solenoid. Then back here you have vacuum from a solenoid here, vacuum from here to the T. Back here the only thing we need is to make sure you have this ground. Then on the other side you have the crank sensor, you have the oil pressure sensor. This wire follows up. This wiring here goes straight to your transmission. You're going to take the whole harness out to the transmission. This is oxygen sensor wire, transmission shift selector wire. And you have to put a bracket here with 10mm bolt here, bracket here. Alternator wiring is actually in the car, so don't worry about it. If you forgot, these are your alternator cables. Underneath for the starter, there's a ground that needs to connect here, and this bracket, this wire here, needs to connect to this bracket here. We're going to connect that right now. The starter motor will be connected once the motor gets down into the car. This motor came from a different type of car. It wasn't from the same T100, so it has an oil cooler, which I did not remove. The oil cooler block-off plate is much smaller than what this is, so I did not use that. There's also that plug. I plugged that back in. This is your ground again. These are two hole bolts holding your fuel return. Then back here you have, you're going to connect your temperature sensor plug. The flywheel to me looks kind of straight. We'll see when we plug it in the car. If this engine's from a different vehicle with a different transmission, you might want to remove and swap your flywheel over. In my case, it's the same. I did swap it over from his original car. Make sure to connect this bracket and brace back in. I have this wire harness with this loom that's going to go straight into that firewall hole into the car. You will connect it to the computer. These two heater hoses, you take them out the way they were in the same position, but if you forgot, this is how they look, and this is how you're going to connect them to plug over there. At this point, you want to bring the transmission up to the mounting position. Use silicone into those. I'm going to put new rings there. I have 2 new rings. And also you put your exhaust back in the way it's supposed to be. I already put the shields on. So there's no other wiring that you need to worry about when it comes to the serpentine belts. The alternator belts first, then is the AC, then is the power steering pump belt. So it has 3 belts, not 2. And I do remove the coil out of the way because my chain runs over the spark plug wires, because sometimes it can break your coil. So take that off. That's what I did for now. This one here is going to connect to the air box. That's going to come from the intake manifold. This also goes into the air box. And you basically have done everything. This is the heater core that you need. Well, this ground is going to plug into that one. The next, I'm going to drop the motor in, let it sit onto those mounts. I also had to swap the mounts because, again, this motor was in a different car, so mounts were different. I had to swap the motor mounts as well. Let's see. So here we go. The first, I'm going to start it up. Just had the car fix a couple of wires. I see a lot of junk coming up from the block. Engine is idling smooth, but we're starting to see a white smoke. The white smoke is so little, I don't feel comfortable running the truck. I don't want to burn my current head gaskets. So I'm going to quickly start my diagnostics and see what's going on. The engine just started and look at the temperature. It reached quickly very hot. It runs fine. But it is smoking. I started the engine this morning. It's ice cold, but we got a smoke from the tail. Also, there's a debris. There's a lot of rust coming up to the radiator neck, and a lot of gases being built up here. And see, the hose is so tight already. This is classic indication of the engine block deck being warped. Also, I use my temperature gun, and 2 of the cylinders here and 1 cylinder on the other side are cold while other ones are heating up. Let's see where the engine sits. So it's so cold I can touch by hand, but when you look inside, it's already overheating.